All right, what's up, guys? Today we're going to talk about a very simple but tricky concept that traps students every now and then on the ACT and SAT math. This is something that seems comically straightforward once you really examine it closely, but it's, as with a lot of properties of math, it's often overlooked. And the thing about these standardized tests is because they're multiple choice, it doesn't matter, how well you understand something. If you make a mistake, it's just the same as not understanding a question, right? So the good thing about the ACT and SAT math specifically is that they're not testing you on how rigorously you understand math, but how you are able to solve problems. So let's move right on ahead. So in this example problem, what we have is an equation in which, you could read it as it is presented. And essentially, it is asking for P in terms of M, R, and N. So, again, this is a very simple problem, but it can be very tricky. So the way to solve this problem is simply to bracket your terms. Now, on the numerator, you can see that you have two terms, essentially, excluding P. So the way I'm going to look at this is I'm going to look at that entire fraction, which is very long, as one term, essentially. But within that one term, on the numerator, we have two separate terms. Okay, and when I say terms, I just mean separate terms that we have a product of two terms over the denominator, and that creates one term. Hopefully that is not confusing you. But essentially, what we have on the numerator is the quantity r over 1200 times the quantity of 1 plus r over 1200 to the nth power. And one thing to do if you're ever in doubt is to parenthesize your terms such that you can visually bracket them off and make sure you can see them as separate entities. This is something I used to do a lot, especially on the ACT, SAT math, and it really helped me immensely. So that's pretty straightforward, whatever you see on the numerator. But on the denominator, a lot of students will see that as two terms, which is incorrect. Anything on the denominator will be a term, its own term. You cannot split that fraction into two separate terms in which you have 1 plus r over 1200 to the n as one denominator and negative 1 as the other. Okay, you can do that with a numerator. Remember the properties of finding the common denominator and division. You cannot split that denominator into two separate terms. So that's actually one term. All right, that's one term. And I went ahead and drew in these curly braces just so that you can see very clearly that's one term. Anything on the denominator is one term. Remember that. Super straightforward, but it's something that is worth emphasizing. Okay, so again, here I just rearranged it. So when you divide both sides by that coefficient, which we will call that long fraction, you're basically multiplying the other side by its reciprocal. So I'm just going to flip the whole thing. So it's super straightforward, and that simply is our answer. So going all the way back, we can see that the answer is B. I hope that helped. This was really short with these videos. I try to just cover the most relevant concepts. If you have any questions or concerns, feel free to leave a comment. And that's that.